Kissinger began working on a peace plan, but progress was slow. The oil embargo remained. The Pentagon started to consider military options.
Kissinger gave an interview in which he said the United States cannot stand having its oil supplies disrupted. This will hurt the entire economy, and if it should become necessary, the United States would be prepared to invade, to intervene in Saudi Arabia to take over the oil fields.
Kissinger's statement was taken as a verbal warning, but a recently declassified secret British intelligence memorandum reveals that 5 months into the embargo, the military option was a reality.
Dr. Kissinger said no great power will allow itself to be strangulated, and he called me up and said, "Jump in behind me," and I did. I was asked at a press conference whether we had the military capacity to move in the Middle East, and I said, we indeed have that military capability.
Both Schlesinger and I used hard language. We tried to make clear that there was a point at which we would have to look after the requirements of national security. And so we implied that if we were pushed absolutely against the wall, we might secure the oil by our own means.
Oh yes, we were quite capable, and we were thinking about a possible move into the Persian Gulf on a contingency basis, but if we were ordered to move, we would have moved.
King Faisal answered back that, we come from the desert, we have been living on camel milk and dates, and we can easily go back and live in the desert again. He was not impressed.
We did not get a telegram from King Faisal congratulating us on those statements.
The oil embargo was having a major impact on the war in Vietnam. Fuel supplies were running dangerously low. Behind the scenes, a solution was concocted.
The announcement, from my standpoint, over at the Pentagon came in the form of a cable from Exxon, which said that Aramco members were cutting off deliveries to the 6th Fleet in the Mediterranean, as well as our forces in Europe.
I wasn't aware of how bad it was until one night I got a telephone call from the Deputy Secretary of Defense under Jim Schlesinger. And he said, "Mike, we have a problem. We need to talk to you." I met with Secretary Schlesinger and Bill Clements. And that's when they told me that they were fighting communists and this boycott was killing them. It was just impossible for us to keep our Navy and our kids in Vietnam supplied. And I talked with our top people, like Jungers, and I remember the two of us went out to see the King.
And the King came in and was obviously irritated. He's picking hairs out of his bisht. That was a good sign that he was irritated.
Well, we gave it to him exactly the way that Bill Clements and Jim Schlesinger had told us, that we were fighting communism. We knew how he felt about them, and we needed his help.
Okay, he said, well, God help you. You probably ought to do it, but don't get caught. Everyone knew that this was something extraordinary. And for years it was a secret.
By 1974, the boycott was over. But continued higher oil prices gave Faisal great wealth and status throughout the Arab world. Then in March 1975, his past caught up with him.
My father was receiving the then Minister of Petroleum of Kuwait. He was followed into the room by a nephew of the king.
The king's nephew, Prince Faisal bin Saud, came to take his revenge. It was his brother who had been killed by police during the 1965 TV tower demonstration.
Remember on the TV thing? And this guy was a little nuts anyway, of booze and all kinds of stuff. And there's the guards and everybody, they don't know the kid. They think he's part of the entourage from Kuwait.
When the minister bowed to say hello to the king, he took out a pistol and shot the king over the shoulder of the minister.
King Faisal's assassination came as a violent shock, especially that the assassin was a family member. But the succession had already been decided.